thank you all for coming. Dosage calculation is sometimes the vein in your being. Many people, it's like, I just don't get math. And I'm a person who gets math, but I make it simple. I don't overcomplicate things, okay? So what I'm going to do is, first of all, pull up. Let me get mine pulled up now that you have them. Where is it? I'm gonna pull up this one. And then I'm pulling up one more. For those who are in med surge too, don't get mics per kilo per minute. I'm going to go over it briefly because by the time you're done with the other reviews, you're going to be okay with taking care of it.
I hide myself.
Who's off of mute?
I'm trying to take a picture of these questions.
Rebecca, you have them in the chat box.
It won't allow me to open them out of the chat.
No?
No.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I tell you what, I have all your names. I will be sending them. Just, okay, what I do need to know is what section you're in. If you don't know the section, give me the day and the time. I know what section that means, okay? I know Mona, I know Letitia, and I already know John. He's already given it to me. So Mona's good, John's. So if you give me the name of your professor, I can definitely get it to you. This will be going out as soon as I get it this afternoon for you so that you can look at it. So dosage calculation. So I used to teach ground at Fortis College, Cutler Bay, and I went to work there and they asked me, can you work pediatrics and teach pharmacology? And I went, pharmacology? I guess I could fake it. Well, who knew what I was getting into? But I'm one of those people who like to learn things and know it better than you so I can teach it. So I figured out new ways of being able to work dosage calc in a manner that is just so easy. After doing it for 4 or 5 years, I would hope that I had that ability to do it. So let's share with you our first one. And it is, let me try to get this a little bigger for us. No, not too big, just big enough. So pediatric dosage calculation is basically as same as any other dosage calculation. So there's a couple questions up front. Again, these are questions that we have that are similar to what's going to be on the exams. They have milligrams, how many mLs to deliver. Sometimes you have to take and do a conversion from milligrams to grams, grams to milligrams. So let's first of all go down a little bit lower and let's look at some information I put in here. Now, we know how to go from kilograms to grams to milligrams to micrograms. We know if we go to the right, we're going to multiply that number by 1,000. I tell my students before you start doing a math question, write down that little key, because once you get to a math question, you're going to forget, do I multiply or do I divide by 1,000? And that's always one of those things students do. So kilograms to grams to micrograms to milligrams to micrograms, you're going to multiply by 1,000. So your number gets bigger, 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 bigger. When you move to the left, you're going to divide by 1,000. So your number gets little, littler, okay? So that little key, write it down. It is a lifesaver. Now, in the way I do dosage calculation, there's only 3 formulas. And Mike's kilo per minute per hour all fit into DHQ questions because it's a dose to be delivered, okay? Okay. Let me see, who's the one who's here that I can hear? All right, trying to turn them off. So Mike's per kilo per minute gets in a DHQ question because a dose is being delivered. The next formula is the mLs per hour. And then the third one is your drop factor or GTTS. How many drops per minute are you going to get? So these are the 3 formulas you need to know. When we get to pediatric dosing, we need to do milligrams per kilogram, okay? Micrograms per kilogram. So we need to know how to convert pounds to kilograms and kilograms to pounds. The way I make my students always remember, I tell them I weigh 100 kilograms because I love that number. I'm not 200 pounds because I don't like to be the bigger number. So that's telling you kilograms will always be the lower number. So when you're done doing the conversion, look at it. So kilograms to pounds, we know pounds is more, we multiply by 2.2. And if it's pounds, we know that's a bigger number. We are going to get to a smaller number. So we divide by 2.2, and that will equal those answers. So let's go up and do just some simple problems off the wall. And then we're going to go down into doing some more of these and more questions for you review. This is a 5-page worksheet here. So it's plenty of stuff, and all but the top 5 questions have answers. I forgot to put them in last night, so I'll send them to you. All right. All right. A client prescribes 82 milligrams IV, a Solumedrol IV. The nurse has on hand, I got to move my little thing here, Solumedrol 60 milligrams per ml. So first thing, look at the equation. What are we looking for? What is the dose to be delivered? So it's a DHQ question. It's a dose, right? It's not mLs per hour. It's not drops. It's no mics per kilo. It's not that crazy stuff. So all it is a DHQ question. So what is my dose? My dose is 82 milligrams. What do I have on hand? I have on 60 milligrams per ml. So let's do something. Let's go to let me see, how do I go back there? There. So 82 milligrams is my dose. You know, and I always put a label next to it because when I get to mics per kilo per minute, it's going to make it. And it comes in 60 milligrams. And it's 1 ml that's in there. So all I'm going to do is divide 82 by 60. Use your calculator. I'm going to warn you, do it twice to make sure that you get the right answer. 82 divided by 60 equals, and the answer is 1.36666. Now, most of the questions you'll see on an exam will tell you round to the nearest hundredth, round to the nearest tenth. So in a dose like this, it was because the number is greater than 1, I'm going to go round to the 10th. 1.4 will be my answer because 6 is 5 or greater, which makes this number bigger. So 1.4 and milligrams cross off. So I'm only left with an ml. So ml is my answer, 1.4 mLs. And now you know you've answered the question correctly. Okay, so that's the first one. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, the next question
Ms.
here
Bogard,
yes. Who is this?
it's Ludney.
Okay.
Is
May I
it
help
okay
you?
if I keep my camera off? Because the one I hit home.
That's fine. That is
I'm
fine.
sorry.
It's
Thank
not a
you.
problem today.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord, I'm dying.
So we have a next question. We have orders for 250 milligrams ampicillin, and the nurse has available ampicillin 1 gram in 20 mLs. So number one, what sort of formula am I going to use for this? It's going to be a dose. We have a dose of a medicine. So if we have 250 milligrams is my order because it says right there, order, and available is what to have and the quantity is. So let's go ahead and let's do that one. I know these are simple, but we're building up to this. So we have 250 milligrams is my dose that I want to have. On hand was 1 gram, right? And it was in 20 mLs. Well, the way I call it, we have apples and we have oranges, and you cannot do apples and oranges. So this one, we're going to have to do a conversion. Well, because my dose wants a milligram, I am going to convert the grams to 1,000 milligrams, okay? Now, you could do it either way you want. There are some students who like everything in grams, not milligrams. I don't care which way you do it. Just make sure that now our labels are matching and this has gone away. So 250, and then I multiply the top and then I'm going to divide the bottom. And if you notice, I always put a placeholder under the quantity or a drop factor so that I'm not going to lose track when I'm trying to multiply across and divide. So 250 times 20 equals 5,000. 5,000. And we're going to divide that by 1,000 milligrams. We know the milligrams and the milligrams cross off. So again, mLs is our answer, and our answer is 5 mLs. Very simple, huh? Now you have answered your question. One of the things I've seen students say, well, how do I know I got mLs as my answer? Well, when you have a same number over a same number, it equals 1. So whether it's a name or a number, those milligrams cross off. We know that's what it is. Giving you all my tricks I can give you. All right, here we are. We're going to do one about a child who weighs 55 pounds, and we want to give some digoxin. We want to give dig 0.15 micrograms per kilogram IV. And what they're looking for is only the dose. Should administer how many micrograms? So there's no conversion beyond there. All it is how do I figure out a dose when I have a child's weight and I have the mics per kilo or the milligrams per kilo that we're going to give? So let's do that one. So child weighs 55 pounds. And we want to give a dose of 0.15 micrograms for every kilogram. Well, we have pounds and kilograms again. So again, we are apples and oranges. So 55 pounds must be changed into kilograms, correct? 55 divided by 2.2. And our answer is 25 kilograms. So if I want 0.15 micrograms for every kilogram, all I'm going to do is multiply. 25 times 0.15 equals 3.75. Now, the answer asks you, the question says that it wants you to round to the nearest tenth. So what is going to be my answer to the nearest tenth? Anybody?
3.8.
3.8.
Beautiful. Because this is a 5 or greater, which makes this number bigger. So 3.8. You will get a question wrong if you don't round properly or if you don't round. So make sure you do, okay? We're lenient sometimes with like itsy bitsy pieces of numbers, but not when it comes to it's a direct forward question like this. 3.75 is your answer, but they want it in the nearest tenth. So your answer would be 3.8. Good. And again, I have a lot more of those in the bottom of this for you to work with. All right, the next question is
Are
heparin.
we gonna have those, Miss Bogart? Can you
Yes,
send
you
those?
will. Yes,
Thank you.
you're getting all of this. Don't worry. These
thank
are
you.
the types of questions you're going to see. Can I be
Okay.
more clear? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so heparin. Many students look at heparin and go, oh my God, what am I going to do with this? Well, when you look at it, isn't there a dose to be delivered? And isn't there what you have on hand in a quantity, just like if you were giving ampicillin, right? So what is our dose? Our dose is prescribed, ordered, to be delivered. All of those names you see, 5,500 units, and it's per hour, okay, and they want it per hour, we're good. And what do we have on hand? We have 5,000 in 500 mLs. So let's go and do that one. Yes, it is that simple. Don't overthink these questions. 5,000. Now I'm going to use an improper abbreviation. You should write units because U is not part of the what we should do anymore. And this is 55, sorry. And it's 5,000 units times 500 mLs over 1. Now, we know units and units are going to cross off, so our answer is ml, if that's the way you want to look at it before you do the question. But if not, afterwards, you can do it too. So let's do multiply across. Again, you see me over 1. Keep yourself so you can multiply and then divide, okay? So 550 times 500 equals a big number, 275,000. We're going to divide that by 5,000. And it's equaling 55. Units are off. ML is the answer. That's what the question's asking for. How many mLs? Was that easy? All right. The next one is simple mLs per hour. Remember, you can do the ml per hour if it's less than an hour in many different ways. You can cross off numbers if they're more than 1 hour things. But I tell you, because you have calculators today, when I took this, I had no calculator. So I would cross off numbers as much as I could to have a smaller number to multiply. Today, there's no excuses. Just put out the whole problem. And if we look down here, this is our formula, volume in ml. So looking at number 5, 250 mLs of 1,000 mLs of D5W to infuse over 45 minutes. Well, that 1,000 mLs of D5W is a distractor. That 1,000 mLs means nothing. Doesn't matter what you're infusing. He wants to prescribe 250 mLs, okay? So make sure you don't look at that distractor. They'll put up 1 liter, 1,000 mLs. It can be written in many ways to give you extra information that you don't need. So volume to be infused, 250 mLs. To infuse over how much? Well, it says time in minutes. Well, it already is. Good. Now, if it's in hours, you're going to have to multiply that by 60 to get your time in minutes. But if it's in minutes, you're good. You don't have to do anything else with that.
Can you do me a favor? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm number 4 with the 55 mils an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting 550 mils an hour.
I'm getting the same thing.
Me too.
So, okay, so
Yeah,
then maybe
it
I didn't
didn't
put another
work out.
zero in.
Because you do.
Let's go back. Let's go back.
All
Let's
right.
go back.
Yeah,
I left it there.
I want to make sure I'm doing it right.
No, thank you very much for stopping me. I appreciate it. I am not perfect.
Yeah, totally.
Let me look at this logically. If 5,000 units are in 500, yes, it is 550. You're absolutely right.
Okay,
Thank you very much. No, thank you. Thank you so much for stopping me. Please stop me. I've made these questions up quickly, to try to give you something. So, this is the first time I look at dosage calculations last semester, just like all of you. So, all right. So let's go back to this question. So we know it is mLs per hour is 250. Time in minutes is 45. And we know that we always multiply it by 60 minutes an hour over 1. So let's do that one. So we want to give 250 mLs. And we know it's in 45 minutes. It's already in minutes. It's already the way we want it. And we always multiply by 60. I'm telling you, this 60, multiplying it by that is the most forgotten by students. They will divide this out and forget to multiply by 60. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint. If you always multiply the top and then divide the bottom, you will never get a fraction that you have to round, unless you like to round. Okay, not everyone, but occasionally you'll see it. You'll always get a whole number this way instead of rounding. That's why I multiply and then divide. Can you divide and multiply? Oh, yes, you can. It's not a problem. But I would prefer you to multiply the top, divide the bottom, because it's one less step, unless you, as I said, like to round. So let's multiply 250 times 60. 15,000 over 45. And we'll divide that. And our answer is 333.333. Now, when you do mLs per hour, it's always a whole number unless otherwise stated. So it's 333 is your answer. Now, does that make sense? You look at it, it's 250 in an hour. You're going to have more than 250 an hour to get it in 45 minutes. So yes, it does make sense to me, because I always look at it. Does the numbers make sense? All right.
I'm sorry.
Now,
When did you say you always use a whole number?
when you do mLs per hour.
Okay,
And
thank you.
drops per minute. Can you give a piece of a drop?
No.
Okay, so when mLs per hour, drops per minute, always a whole number, unless otherwise stated, okay? But it's, I mean, sometimes small micro, children, they do pieces of number, because an extra 0.5 or 0.4 could make up a lot of fluid in time if you only weigh 1 pound. But generally, it's mLs per hour, drops per minute.
Thank
There
you.
always will be whole numbers. No, you're welcome. Thank you. All right. So here's a couple of the problems that I have put up here for you. I've put stripped down problems, and then I put some that has some nice little distractors in it. Now, the 1 mL per hour that we did up here had minutes in it. And it showed you just put the 45 minutes on the bottom times 60. So let's go ahead and let's do number 4, 600 cc's. And remember, cc is the same thing as ml. Same thing. Cubic centimeters, milliliters, same thing. It's the same label. You're going to see, give 1 cc of this in a 3 ml syringe. It's the same thing, okay? Just to let you know, because you'll see it all different ways. So we're going to do number 4, and we're going to do 600 cc's or mLs, and we're going to give it over 3 hours. So let's set that one up next. I mean, it's a simple one, and you can do it in your head very easy, but sometimes you can't think. I have moments like that. I call them moments of unclarity, or a senior moment. So 600 mLs is the mLs, the volume to be delivered in mLs. Time in minutes, well, it's 3 hours. So I'm going to multiply that by 60, and I'm going to get 180 minutes. I know some of you will say, I can cross out 60 and 60. I know you can say that and just have 600 divided by 3. I know you can do that. You've got a calculator. Just do it all the longhand, all the way. You'll never make a mistake. You'll never forget to use the 60, okay? So that is one thing I'm telling, just as a safeguard to you so that you always get it correct. So again, I've got a calculator. It's easy. So again, multiply the top and divide it by the bottom. And again, you always see my 1 there. 600 times 60 equals 36,000 over 180. So let's divide that. And our answer is 200. Yes, it's the same thing as taking 600 divided by 3, but now in future problems, you're never going to forget this, because that's what happens when you start doing shortcuts, especially you're new to this stuff. All right, let's go to something else. Is everybody okay with mLs per hour? I think it's probably the easiest of all the formulas. Does anybody need some more work on mLs per hour? Now, when you look at this, all your answers are here. You have all the answers to all of these questions. So you're good. You can do a really good check there, which is pretty cool. All right, next thing. These are some written out formulas using mLs per hour, dosages, some are conversions, some aren't, and it's going to help you look at a question and number one, determine what formula do I need to use. I mean, when you see volume and time, that's easy. But when you have a dose and volume, you're like, oh, which one do I use? So that's why I put you up some word problems so that you can look at it and you can start to think. So let's look at number one. Now I put the answers right underneath it to have them there for you. Now, your patient needs 2,000 mLs. Let me have a sip of this coffee here, excuse me. This in Miami is called Cuban coffee. It is thick, very strong coffee, and it's so good. That's something you learn as a nice little gringo, little American in Miami, how to drink some Cuban coffee. All right, so your client needs 2,000 mLs of saline over 4 hours for a severely deficient fluid volume. How many mLs per hour are you going to set the controller? Now, what formula am I going to use? Anybody? Let's look at the three formulas. Is there a
Volume
dose
over hour? It's the volume
gonna
with
be-
hour.
Right, it's volume that we're doing mLs per hour. It's volume. And you have those three formulas, just put them through your head. Is there a dose of something to be delivered? No, there's no medicine here. There's nothing to be delivered, okay? Is it time and volume? Oh, yes, that's it. Does it have a drop factor there? No. So that is mLs per hour. And that's why you need to think when you look at the question. It will help you. So let's do that one. So we want to give 2,000 mLs, and we want to give it in 4 hours. So this is times 60, excuse me and my messiness. And we know that it's 60 minutes in an hour. Now, 4 times 60 is 240. So again, let's multiply the top, divide the bottom. 2,000 times 60 divided by 240. So our answer is 500. This is what, 12 to, did it too quick. Gotta slow down, guys. And that's me. One, two, three, four. 1,200 divided by 240. And that equals 500 mLs per hour. And we know it's mLs per hour. We just know it's there for that. Okay. Any questions on that one?
Professor Booker, what is the
Yes.
rationale behind inside that 60? I've never done that before.
To put the 60 down?
Yes, ma'am.
What have you done?
I just do the volume over the time to get the answer. I've never done the.
It's okay. It's okay for hours. It's okay for hours, but
Okay.
many of these have medicines to be delivered over 30 minutes.
So
it won't work the same. It won't work the same.
I
So
understand
giving
that.
you one formula for all of them, you'll make no mistakes. That's
Thank you,
why
Ms.
I
Booker.
say, don't take the 60 away. You know, don't just divide these, because that less than 45 minutes, you need to or less than 1 minute, you're going to have to times it by 60 to get the real answer. So it's just a safeguard. I teach
Absolutely.
you the
Thank you.
longer way, but in the long way, you're going to get more points, which is
Yes,
the big
ma'am.
thing. I want you all to get the best you can. That's why I'm doing this. So I got rid of dosage calc. I'll never get rid of it. All right, now, I think question 2 is very upfront. If you look at it, we're just going to figure out what the name of the formula that we're going to use, but I don't need to figure out all the way because it's a simpler one. And this literally here is, all right, let's look at the first formula. It's DHQ. Do we have a dose to be delivered? Well, we have penicillin 300,000 units to be delivered. So, okay, we want that. That is what's on hand. We have the dose that we want to give is 1 million units, okay? So your D is 1 million and your dose is 300,000 and it's going to just be multiplied by your 1. I mean, you don't have to multiply by 1. It's just simply your answer will be 3.3 mLs you're going to need in order to give this medication. All right, number 3 has one of those questions that again has a dose and it has what you have on hand. So it's not mLs, it's not time, it's not drops, it's a dose. So we know it's a DHQ question. So what do we order? Well, we ordered 0.5 milligrams. I don't care what the names of the medicines are. It's the dose, the numbers that this is focused on. So 0.5 milligrams is a dose. We have on hand 0.25 milligrams. So you just divide it and the answer is 2. All right, number 4 is
I'm sorry to interrupt you again.
Sure, it's okay. Please don't be sorry. Go.
It's probably me. On the question with the 300,000 units of penicillin.
Yep.
So you take the 300,000 divided by 1 million?
No. Look at what it says. Your order reads penicillin 1 million. You have on hand 300,000.
Oh,
it's
I got
switched.
it.
And again,
I got it. I'm doing it backwards.
Exactly. So I did it that way because you will see it written that way. And I want you to think, what do you have ordered?
Okay.
I almost went that way. So yes, you're right. Good. I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you.
And you're not a bother. Don't worry. There's never a bother if you don't know an answer. I was taught very early in my nursing career, if you have a question, it's not stupid because you don't know the answer. So there's no stupid questions. And just remember that. You can ask me anything at any time. I don't ever mind to be disturbed. It's not disturbing me. I want you to understand. I know it. I want you to know it. So number 4. This is a question. Let's look at the 3 formulas. Is it a dose to be delivered? Oh, well, okay, there it is. I want to give a medicine 250 milligrams. You need to administer. It's ordered. So that is the dose. The 250 is the dose here. And you have on hand, and that's milligrams. And you have on hand 0.5 grams. So we know that we have apples and oranges here. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that one just to do it. So we have on hand, we have the order of 250 milligrams. And we have on hand 0.5 grams. Well, we know apples and oranges, they don't mix and they don't taste good together either. So again, I'm going to make grams into milligrams. So if I'm going from milligrams to grams, I'm going to the right, I'm multiplying by 1,000. Again, go back and look at that chart. It's going to be a lifesaver when you forget, because there are times I don't remember. I have to think the same way as you do. So all we're going to do is divide this here. And you know something? I had the wrong answer there. 0.5 tablets is your answer, because I have 500 milligram tablets on hand and I only want 250. You see, it's easy for me to confuse them too. So I'm going to have to change that for everybody. Okay. See, I told you I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I just want to be the best I can. All right, here we go. We have insulin, but it is a dose. Remember, heparin. Heparin is a dose. It's a medicine. It's something we need to give give. So let's look at this. This is number 6. We have 12,000 units of heparin that needs, it's ordered, you need to administer whatever those words are. So we know that's our dose. And we have 5,000 units on hand. How much are we going to give? So let's go and look at that one. So I want to give 12,000 units. And I have on hand 5,000 units. And because I'm showing that I've looked at the quantity, so I'm not going to ever forget to look when it says 2 or 5 or 10 or 100 or whatever, I know that I've looked at the quantity for DHQ. So all I need to do here is divide, and you take 12,000 divided by 5,000, and it's going to equal 2.4 mLs. Because units cross off, I'm only left with ml, so I know that is my answer, because that's what it's looking for. Okay? Am I giving you some good tricks to think about?
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
good.
thank you.
Good. No, you're very welcome. Not a problem. All right, the other 2 questions are pretty well up forward and frank that you could go through. Now, here's some heparin problems. So, you're going to look at these heparin problems and you're going to say, oh my goodness, how are we going to do those? Well, how did I tell you to do a heparin problem? What formula are we going to use? Is it a dose? Is it mLs per hour? Is it drop per minute? It's a dose, right? So let's do number 1. Number 1 here says you have 1,500 units. It's an order. The order is heparin 1,500 units. Okay, so that is what is ordered. The medication comes from pharmacy. So this is what we have on hand, the 25,000 units, and that quantity, 250 mLs. So let's set that one up. So 1,500, that's what our order, what we want to give. They sent a bag up and it's a bag of fluid, and inside that bag is 25,000 units of heparin. You need to know, how much do I need to give that dose? Out of the 250 mLs, how much do I need to give? So again, all we're going to do is multiply and then divide. So let's do 1,500 times 250 equals 375,000 divided by 25,000. Now, units get crossed off. ml is the answer. So I know my label is going to be mLs. So we'll divide it. And we get the answer 15. Very simple, isn't it? When I put it this easy, this is as easy as even mics per kilo. We're going to go to that one after we do a couple of pediatric stuff. All right. Do I need to go over any more heparin? Are you okay with them? It's very easy. Find the order. Again, when you look at a question, what formula do I need to use? Is it DHQ? Do I need a dose? Do I need to know? And it gets confusing when they ask how many mLs per hour, but is it for a dose? Then it's a dose first. ml per hour is only time and volume, And then is it drops per minute? And that is, again, it's drops. You'll see somewhere in that equation there, how many drops per minute. And again, your answers are there, and I know those are all right. All right, here we are with some of the things that are very pertinent to the pediatric population. It's how to give a dose and how to give it safely. I'll give you an example how I used it up to the last time I was in the hospital. I'm giving Tylenol and Motrin, and I need to give it milligrams per kilogram. So all of our children were weighed in kilograms. So if I was given Motrin, it was 10 milligrams per kilogram. So I needed to know how to make a dose so that I could go and dispense what I had to do for that child, or Tylenol, either or. So you will use it. in some areas of nursing today. Many of these are already figured for you, but it's nice to double check and know, because even I, who know this pretty good, I am not infallible. I make mistakes, and it's your responsibility as a nurse to check, even if a pharmacist checked for you. Remember how many things they're checking. Okay, here we go. We have Jenny. She weighs 9.5 kilograms. And she wants to give whatever medicine. And as I said, it doesn't matter what medicine you're talking about, unless you're looking if it's a safe dose, if it's a proper dose of medicine to be delivered. But that's not what dosage calc that we do. You did that on your HESI already. So 0.3 milligrams per kilogram per dose. And the medicine comes in 2 milligrams in 3 mLs. So they want you to know how much you are going to give for one dose. So in order to do this, first you have to figure out what is your dose. So this is what we're going to do first. What is your dose, and then how much you're going to give. So we have a child who weighs 9.5 kilograms. And we want to give 0.3 milligrams per kilogram. Oops, sorry. It's where my little thing was stuck. There, it's better. Okay, milligrams per kilogram. So in order to figure out a dose, what I need to do first is multiply the kilograms per milligrams. Now this is lucky, we're already in kilograms. We don't even have to do a conversion from pounds to kilograms. So 9.5 times 0.3 equals, and I don't do any rounding to the end, okay, is 2.85 milligrams is going to be my dose. Right? That's what that equals. And what do I have on hand? They told you that you have 2 milligrams, and that came in a 3 ml vial. So all I'm going to do again, multiply, divide. It's a two-step question. 2.85 times 3 is 8.55 divided by 2. 4.275. And if it was going to ask properly, it's a number over 1. I'm sure that we're going to just round and make the answer to the 10th. So all we look is the one who's given him a hug next to him is the only one. We have a 10th place and we have a 100th place. Whatever that 100th place shows, we don't care about this place here. It's only the one who's rubbing shoulders. So yes, that's 5 or greater. That's going to increase that. So our answer will be 4.3. Milligrams cross off again, right? mLs is your answer. So we know we got mLs as our answer. Does that make sense to y'all? 2 steps, finding out the dose and then finding out how much you're going to deliver. Sometimes it's just finding the dose. Read the question. All right. All right, let's do this. I can't see what number it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. A 14 kilogram child is ordered 12 milligrams per kilogram per day. And there's 6 doses a day. It's a little bit more involved, okay? Number 1, you need to find out the dose. And then per day, right? It says per day. So sometimes it says per dose, sometimes it says per day, like the upper ones, the first and second question had per dose. So you knew you were doing it per dose, but this question has per day. So sometimes they'll say every 6 hours, QID, BID. Remember what they mean. BID is by, 2. TID is try, 3. And QID is quad, which is 4 sides. That's how you remember BID, TID, and QID, okay? So let's figure out this question. 14 kilograms, it's, let me see, 14 kilograms, 12 milligrams per kilogram per day, and 6 doses. So it's not as hard as you might think. So we have 14 kilograms. And we want to do 12 milligrams per kilogram per day. So let's just multiply 14 times 12. And our kilograms come off, so it's per day, and it's 144 milligrams per day. There we go. So we want to do it every 6 hours, or 6 doses, 4 doses every day, right? No, it's 6 doses every day. All we do is divide it by 6. Because now you have to take the dose per day and divide it up and make dose, just 1 dose. And they told you it is 6 doses every day.
Professor, can I stop you real quick? I'm getting
Sure.
168.
Yeah, 14 times 12 is
Thank you.
168.
14 times 12. You're right. All right, 168. Thank you, guys. Keep me in line, will you? So you know what it is? I'm not doing the calculator twice, and I've got stubby, chubby sausage fingers. So that's why I always say, do it twice. If you get the same answer twice, you're good. I'm rushing. I shouldn't. And you just learned a lesson from me. Make sure that you do that, because that's what happens. And it's not that you didn't know how to do it. It's that your fingers or your nails got in the way.
Or
So
it's
once-
that coffee from Miami.
You know, it's the stuff. It's really good. Okay. So 168, that was funny. 168 divided by 6 equals 28. So it's 28 milligrams per dose. And that will be your answer, 28. Okay. Good job, guys. Thanks for keeping me in line. I appreciate it.
Hey, Professor, you did say that you'll publish these videos to us, right? So we can use
You're
it for
getting
practice?
all of, absolutely, absolutely you are. You can
Awesome, thank you.
You can watch me watch the same mistakes over and over again. But it teaches you a lesson as I do them, you know, and that's how we learn. And even when you're looking at anything in nursing, sometimes you have to make almost a mistake, but you'll learn it for life. And then what I would do is I would share it with other nurses to tell them, I almost did this, but this happened and I didn't. So I want to share it with you because I don't want you to make a mistake, because making a mistake in nursing could be a big, big thing. So it's that sharing, and that's what nursing is. I'm one of those nurses who always shared everything. Even as a senior, I always took criticism from the youngers. And I think it's what I try to promote in the future nurses that I do teach. So I'm glad that you all can speak up and tell me. So thank you. All right, here we go. This is a good one. The one right below it, written is sort of the same, but not quite the same. So it's the let me see, where is it? A 10.8 kilogram child is ordered 60 milligrams per kilogram per day every 4 hours. How many are you going to do per each dose? So this is a little bit of more figuring out stuff. Sometimes you'll even have kilogram, you know, pounds to kilograms before you even start. So let's do this one. 8 kilograms. And it's going to be 60 kilograms per day, right? And that's per day. And
Is
we're
it 8
giving,
kilograms or 10.8?
thank you. I have it on my scrap paper and I thought it was 10, never mind. It's that coffee, 10.8 kilograms times 60 per day. And that's every 4 hours. So let's just figure the dose up first. So 10.8 times 60 equals, did you all get 648? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now it's every 4 hours. How do you figure that out the easiest? There's 24 hours in a day, divided by 4. If it was every 6 hours, 24 divided by 6. Every 8 hours, 24 divided by 8 will always get you your answer. So 24 divided by 4 is 6 doses. And they want to know per each dose. All we do is divide it. And the answer is 108 milligrams per dose. Did you all get that? Okay, good. So those are the types of questions you'll have. Kilograms, pounds, making sure they're in kilograms first. So always know that pounds always are heavier. They're a bigger number. So if you go from kilograms to pounds and the number's smaller, there's a problem because I weigh kilograms. I don't weigh no 200 pounds. I weigh 100 now. 100 sounds really good to me, okay? You'll remember it now. All right, so kilograms to pounds, figuring out the dose, just a multiplication, seeing if it's per day or per dose is important, and then dividing it by how many doses it's going to be. And here's all your good stuff. All right, now what we're going to do now, I'm going to share something else with you. For those who want to learn about some med surg and mics per kilo and go, wow, that was easier than I thought, we're going to do you next. All right, let's do number 1. Number 1, we are going to be delivering a dose, aren't we? We want to give a dose and we want to give 3 milligrams per minute. And what did they send you from the pharmacy? I don't care the med, it's okay. What amount of stuff is in there? It's 1 gram. And the quantity it came in is 500 mLs. Well, we just set up our problem right there, very simply. So our dose, 3 milligrams per minute. We have on hand 1 gram. And it came in a 500 ml bag. Now, this is the thing with doses, these milligram mics per kilo per minute. Now, this answer is they want mLs per hour, right? And this is minutes. So we're going to multiply it by 60, okay? You have to put the minutes, change it to hour. Now you're going to get the mLs per hour that you want for your answer, because that's what it's asking for. So if it's minute, change it. If it's already hours, leave it alone. Don't put anything there. And then, of course, we have apples and oranges. So we'll multiply by 1,000 and make 1,000 milligrams. Do you know something? Multiply, divide, you get your answer. Was that easy? Which comes out to be 90,000 multiplied 3 times 60 times 500, divided by 1,000. Our answer is 90 mLs per hour.
Can you explain I got confused when you said to switch the 60 minutes to an hour.
Well, your question asks for how many mLs per hour you're going to set your pump at. And you are running 3 milligrams a minute. You need to know how many milligrams per hour to get the appropriate dose. So when you see minutes, you multiply it by 60. If it already has per hour, you do not have to change it because it's already given you what the answer wants.
What
Okay.
she did, she multiplied the 3 milligram by 60 minutes. That gives you 90 milligram.
It gives you 180 milligrams.
Sorry, 180 milligram. Then she convert the 1 milligram, the 1 gram to 1,000 milligram.
Yep. But I'm saying you don't have to do bits and pieces. You can just leave it there and multiply across, okay? Did that help you? Anybody else with a question? Okay. Let's go for another one. I don't want to go that hard yet. Let's go down to number 3. Number 3, I want to give an order for this medicine, and it needs to infuse at. The infuse at, deliver at, whatever, that is your dose. So what is our dose here? It's 20 milligrams per
20
hour.
milligrams.
20 milligram per hour.
It is. That's our dose, because they send you a bag of medicine inside a volume. So we know that that is what is delivered, okay? Our order is 20 milligrams per hour. And again, they wanted to give it ml per hour. So look, we're already at an hour. There's no change there on this one. So let's do this one. So 20 milligrams per hour, we decided, is what our dose is, D. We have 1 gram. And it's in 500 mLs. The bag that came up from the pharmacy has 1 gram and 500 mLs. So we know that the hours there, we don't have to do nothing to that. Okay, it's not minutes. We don't have to change it. So we leave it alone. But we have apples and oranges. So we're going to change this to 1,000 milligrams. So get rid of that one. So now we have all apples or all oranges, whatever you want. Now just multiply. So we have 500 times 20 equals 10,000 divided by 1,000. 1, 2, 3, and our answer is 10. And there we are. Grams come off, milligrams come off, right? And it's mLs per hour. Does that help you marking off the labels and showing your labels that are left are mLs per hour? Sometimes students want to do crazy things because it's not getting me what I want. But if you do the labels, like I'm telling you, everyone, put labels down. We know that milligrams over milligrams wipes off. Hour has nothing to wipe it off, or ml. So that's mLs per hour. So we know that's what we're looking for. It's just another check safe for you, because I know that's like, but how do you know it's mLs per hour a dose and I don't get it? Well, crossing them off does help. All right. Let's go for another one. These actually get to be fun after a while. All right, let's do number 7. Those are very similar type questions that you might see. And it's something that I think that's going to help. And then we're going to go into insulin and heparin, because I don't know why students go, I don't get it when it's units. It doesn't matter what your label is, as long as you use the same labels. Units can be a gram, right? Units is a gram and milliunits is a milligram. You don't like the unit label? Take it off, put another label on. It's still going to come out with the same numbers that you need. The dose is still going to be there. So I don't want to confuse you, but if you understand that, you could do that. All right, let's do number 7. So when we look at this order, we have dopamine 500 in a 0.5 liter of normal saline. It's at 6 mics per kilo per minute. So that's our dose, 6 mics per kilogram per minute. Now, in this case, this has a person weighing 150 pounds, okay? What do we have on hand? Well, we have that dopamine 500 milligrams, and it's in 0.5 liters. So there's a couple conversions here, but we're going to get there. Let me show you. It starts to get fun after a while, I think, anyway. 6 microgram per kilogram per minute. And we have on hand 500 milligrams in 0.5 liters. So first conversion. Well, we have 150 pounds. How many kilograms is that? Because we want kilograms here. 150. Remember, that's a bigger number, so we divide it by 2.2 and we get 68.2. Good job. And here's minutes again, so we have to multiply it by 60. And then we want milliliters, so it's 500 milliliters. And then micrograms, milligrams. Well, milligrams to micrograms, multiply by 1,000. Now, if you want to clean it up, you could put 6 micrograms per times 68.2 times 60 over 500,000 micrograms times 500 mLs over 1. And again, just multiply the top. You don't have to do one section first. Do the whole thing. Don't do extra time. So we're going to take 6 times 68.2 times 60 times 500. And it's this big, big number. Tell me if you got the same thing. Again, 6 times 68.2 times 60 times 500. Oh, I got the same number twice. I guess I did good. Divided by 500,000. And our answer is 24.552. Now, when you're giving doses, go back and look at the question. Now, again, it's a dose. So if I was going to do an answer, or I would guess what it would ask for, it's a dose. We're going to look at, it's a number greater than 1. So we're going to take this number and see, does it influence the 5? Yep. 5 makes the number goes up. So the answer is 24.6 mLs per hour. Now look at this. This comes off. This comes off. All we're left with was hours and milliliters per hour. We know we got the answer. Does that make sense to y'all? Is that easier than what you have learned, or it was a great refresher?
I'm not a math whiz, so let me double check myself on this. So you took the 6 micrograms per kilogram, so that'd be the 68.2, and then 60 minutes.
Right.
Did you multiply straight across there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
6
I must have
times
done something wrong.
68.2 times 60 times 500. And I got this big long million number.
Okay. So
Divide by 500,000 and you get the answer.
I have a question. So
Sure.
it's
Thank you.
milliliters per hour. It wouldn't be a whole number. You wouldn't round that to be a whole number.
Well, again, it's a dose.
Okay.
It's a dose. It's a dose. So as I said, you need to look at what the question's asking for. And sometimes it'll tell you to round to the, to the nearest hundredth, nearest tenth. There is no rounding here. So I just rounded it to the 10th. Okay. Because it's a dose. It's the only reason why. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
But that was a good question.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you do the kilograms from the pounds, would you just round that? Would you get the same answer if you just put 68, or do you have to put that whole number?
Oh, no. You have to put the little fraction there.
You have to put the whole number.
Now, think about pediatrics and think about a 3.3 kilogram child. That 0.3 is 10% of their weight. It will make a big deal. And it does. So yes, you must round it, to the nearest tenth. And, you can even leave it 68.18 if you want and go the whole way through. You're going to get about the same thing in the end. Okay.
I got 24.6.
Okay, good. You're right. Absolutely. You're right.
Okay. On the paper, it says 24.4.
Okay.
So would the answer be 25?
24.6, unless they ask to round to the nearest whole number or the 10th. Just put the number down. Remember, all your exams are going to tell you round to the nearest 10th, round to the nearest whole number, round to the nearest hundredth. It will be explicit for you to know. Okay.
Okay. I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Please. what I'm here for. All right, want to do another one? Just like that one, a hotter one? All right, let's do number 2, because it's basically the same thing. So nipride 500 IV and 250 mLs D5W to run at 2 micrograms per kilogram per minute. And this child, this adult, weighs 125 pounds, and we need to give it. So what is our dose? Our dose is running at, to be delivered, to infuse 2 mics per kilo per minute, because we know the other one is a bag with medicine in it. So we know that's what was delivered. So that's 500 milligrams. And the quantity is 250 mLs. So let's do that one. So 2 micrograms per kilogram per minute. The bag came up with 500 milligrams in it, and that was in a 250 ml bag, and they weighed 125 pounds. Why did you do that? Get back up there. All right, whatever. Hold on, let me come out of there and go back in. So it doesn't want to go up. Anybody know how to do that? All right, whatever. We have to make it work. All right, so 125. I'm not technical wizard at all. That's probably my weakest flaw, but I try really hard. All right, 125 pounds is how many kilograms?
Fifty-six
56.8.
point eight.
56.8. What do I need to do with the minutes?
Convert it to hours.
Good, so we do. Remember, if it's already hours, do nothing with it. Again, micrograms and milligrams, we're going to multiply, and we're going to multiply it by 1,000, and we still get the same number like before, 500 micrograms, and we already have mLs. So that's all we need to do here. Multiply, divide. 2 times 56.8 times 60 times 250 equals 170400. I'm going to do it again so that my fingers are going to be correct. 2 times 56.8 times 60 equals times 250. I got the same number, and then we're just going to divide it by 500,000. 3.4 is your answer. 3.408. Is it getting easier to understand that? I mean,
Yes.
all you need to do is put down your dose. What do you have on hand and what quantity, and you will get your answers. So what I'd like to do is now do an insulin one.
Professor Bogart,
Yes.
is there any cutesy like type saying to remember
Oh,
small
a
to
jingle
large?
lingle?
Ma'am,
The
the small to
jingle
large
lingles?
and the large to small, you know, because I usually remember all those little sayings and it helps me
You
out.
know, I know what you're saying. What I do is I write them all down, and I'm like, I'm right-handed, it gets bigger. Left-handed, it gets smaller.
Okay,
You know,
right-handed gets bigger. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a right-hander. It gets bigger. I can throw it farther. It gets bigger.
Okay. All right, wonderful. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. That's a very good thing to think of. All right, and then again, they're talking about insulin, and they're talking about heparin, and you all get like, what? You know, it changes the question, and no, it doesn't. It's the same formula. So let's look at number 9 with insulin, and we look at it and we go 100 units regular insulin IV and 250. Well, we know that's the bag sent from the pharmacy. I don't care what solutions it in. I don't care if it's 9%, D5W. All I want is the numbers. I want, it has 100 units and 250. Up, there's our dose to infuse at 12 units per hour. All right. And let's put this one up on it. And we'll see, it really doesn't make any difference. So we have 2 units per hour. How come I always go, oh, maybe I'll get there. Yes, I will. 2 units per hour. I get excited when I could figure out touchscreen computers. 2 units per hour, and we have 100 milligrams, 100 units. Now, remember, U is not an
Is
appropriate
it 2 or
abbreviation.
12?
12, thank you. 12 units per hour times 250. Thank you for your help, everybody. After a while, I see double doing these. All right, so we look at this. There's no conversion, is there? There's nothing to do. Multiply, divide, simple. So 12 times 250, 3,000 divided by 100. Our answer is 30 mLs per hour because units cross off. Okay. Did y'all get that? You see how easy that really was? And you know, heparin's the same way. And as I said, you don't like the labels, as long as they're the same, you don't have to change them. Okay. You don't have to put the labels down. I put them there just to show you it is the mLs per hour. Any questions? I think you're on mind fog at the moment. It's a lot that I've given you. I've given you a lot of practice. Is there anything more I can do for you right now? John, you okay?
Ma'am, I was one of the other classmates, me and her having a conversation. We're trying to work through something because in our campus, I'm sorry, I'm kind of late in getting a double echo. Hold on one sec.
Sorry.
So on our campus, we are having to do dosage and calc tests, and they're timed. And it really is, I don't know, it's just a challenge, the time is. And we're trying to figure out how to ask the questions that she's trying to ask. So that's what we're doing. So.
All right. All right. Well, if I can help you.
I'm not really sure how to ask the question. So I was trying to listen to her to figure out what she was asking me.
Okay. So when you figure it out, send me a message. I can meet you on Zoom anytime. I can help you out because you see how quick I put stuff down.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a no-brainer. What is it? What sort of formula? This is the formula. What's the dose? What do I have? What's the quantity? You know, it's very simple. What's the mLs? Volume in mLs, time in minutes. It's like there's only 3 equations that we use, formulas, only 3. So
yes, ma'am.
Using that, it makes it a lot easier than trying to. Now, I don't do a dimensional. I don't know it, don't understand it, don't want to, because it makes no sense to me. Because I can look at the question and put it in that DHQ and it works. Instead of like, you know, your question goes on forever, times 1 over 1,000 and 1,000 over 1. And yeah, no, I don't know. So. Mona,
what
are you
she's
okay?
trying to do is create it to where you guys cut down less time so that you're not having to do like long division and stuff. She's cutting it down to where you can just type it into your calculator.
Well, see, I've always
And-
done desire over half times stack, volume over times in minutes times drop factor. Those have always been the equations I've used over the years. But you know, I think with the newer ones, when you're doing, like me personally, one of the questions I would be asking, when you're looking at the problems, they're on the screen. And then when you go to your dry erase board, what I'm going to do is take a picture real quick before you do that, so I can look where you're pulling. Because when I'm looking at your volume to be infused or your desire and your stock, sometimes in the questions, that's where I get confused. It's figuring out, you know, in the newer forms, because they used to not look like this, honestly, when I did this farm years ago. It was not as, it just doesn't look the same as it used to be honest with you.
You know, math is always changing. Math that tries to be more complicated, and it doesn't need to be. If you can, you know, the way I think I do it, and I've been told by many pharmacy professors that it just makes sense and it eliminates a lot of confusion.
Professor Bogart, but this goes along with people need to understand, like, John, if that works best for how your brain functions,
right?
Like that, every way is different. And I'm telling you, Betty, like your way is the 100% quickest and everything and works for my brain. And that's how I learn.
That's fine. Then I've done what I needed.
So it works perfectly, but some people's brains don't get it. And they have to do the long division. And they're the ones that will read the entire paragraph rather than skip the important.
Then go boom, boom. I don't even know what the question says. Boom, 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 boom. Now, I will never tell you to switch your math style. I'm introducing something to make you think, to think about what type of formula do I need to use? Where do I start? Because there are three in any formula that you're going to use in any manner you do it. There's always those three things you're going to pull out, or at least two things. You know, volume mLs and time, or is it going to be, you know, what you dose you want to give, what you have on hand, quantity. All of those things are pulled out. They're done many different ways. I'm not telling you to change and confuse you. I'm just showing you how to think a little bit more with it and then try to make it a little bit more sense, you know, that you can work with it a lot easier. Now, if you all want to do this again, I don't have a problem doing it again. We can do it on week 5. You know, I know that that'll be for your next exams and med surg. I don't mind doing it. All you need to do is holler to me and I'll do it again and I'll find another worksheet for us because I'm sure I have a million of them.
Will you go ahead and plan on doing it?
That's what I was getting ready to say as well.
All right, week 5. So you like Thursdays at 1 o'clock?
I think so. I think that works for our schedule.
Okay, because I mean, I had a nice turnout.
I probably won't be able to join it because I have clinical that day, but I'll get.
But you'll have a recording.
Yes.